Alright guys, we are back at it again with another comparison. This time we are breaking down Assassin's Creed Valhalla on the PS5 versus the PS4 Pro. Full disclaimer, from all the testing I have seen and research I have done, the Xbox Series X versus the One X would be a very similar comparison to what you're seeing in this video. So just keep that in mind if you're looking at this video and wondering how it stacks up against the Xbox Series X. It's pretty much identical. But without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. First thing off the bat, we're gonna go is the load times. Load times are not that bad on the PS4 Pro this time in comparison to the PS5, but the PS5 is still a lot faster and a lot smoother at getting that loading in. You are at almost 4 seconds on a PS5 when loading into a game versus an almost 26-second load-in time to get in on the PS4 Pro. There is some things I have noticed. There is a jankiness kind of towards the gameplay on a PS4 Pro versus a PS5. And I feel like you kind of notice it, especially when it's transitioning into cutscenes like this here, that you don't get it as smooth. I don't know if it's the frame rate that's causing that, or if it's just the game trying to render and load what's going on, but that is something worth noting that I have noticed when I've been doing this. As we're going to the opening cutscene, kind of notice the textures. Textures are big difference. Textures are going to be one of the things that are greatly improved on the PS5 versus the PS4 Pro. In this scene, the PS4 Pro is running at a 30 frames locked, but the PS5 is running at a 60 frames. There are some dips that I've noticed on PS5, especially in the frame rate, but it seems to only drop to about the 50s. Do noted though, it seems to be struggling a little bit more on the PS4 Pro as transitions of camera shifts. It seems to get some pop-ins that kind of throw off that, but the big difference is the 60 versus 30 frames. Just the fluidity of how everything's moving and motion. The PS5 is very much outperforming. When it comes to your textures and draw distances, the PS5 is again outshining when it comes to how far you can see the surface detail of distant items in the background. You notice it again here in this scene, where the rocks are a lot sharper on the PS5 and vegetation seems to be a lot more vegetation that is cleaner compared to the PS4 Pro. Lighting does change the way things look, and there is dynamic lighting, so getting the lighting to be perfected in all these scenes is a little tricky. So bear with it, but I feel like it's still a good comparison. Now, synchronization is another good key detail of where you can see that smooth frame rate and that smooth movement kind of cleaning up those images, but that draw distance is the other factor that you notice here. Movement is, again, by far one of the biggest details that you will notice. The 60 frames versus 30 frames kind of gives it that jitteriness when you're playing it on the PS4 Pro versus that PS5 getting that smoothness. You also notice there is more vegetation, more trees, and more detail in the world of the PS5 version versus the PS4 Pro version. Same thing here. I've noticed there's more trees, more textures, more details. I've noticed a lot more vegetation in scenes like this, and I don't know if it's because of the power of the PS5 that's given it more vegetation, or if it's just things that aren't rendering very well on the PS4 Pro that makes it kind of not stand out like it does on the PS5. Interior seems to be kind of doing all right. You still get that sharper textures on the PS5 versus the PS4 Pro, but they're still, for the most part, very identical. It's just you're going to get that sharper textures and sharper resolution on that PS5. Combat by far is where you're going to notice another huge difference, very much like in the movement scene. How smooth it plays and how smooth everything moves when you're fighting on the PS5 versus some of the jankiness on the PS4 Pro. Graphically, the game is gorgeous on both versions, but you definitely see the quality of the PS5 outshining the PS4 Pro. Getting that realistic lighting effect very, very much affects the water around you, the details of the draw distances. Just all together, this game is gorgeous, and I think that if you were to upgrade to a PS5 later and decide that this is a game that you want to try out, I think you will notice a huge improvement in gameplay and in quality. Alright guys, this was kind of my comparison of the PS4 Pro versus the PS5 with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You can clearly tell night and day, PS5 is definitely outshining on that PS4 Pro. The big difference is your frame rate, and do noted that the PS4 Pro and the PS5 do have dips in their frame rate. It's never a consistent frame rate from what I have noticed. Again, all my research shows that the Xbox One X versus an Xbox Series X comparison would be almost identical to this video. Alright guys, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. You guys are amazing. If you guys have any recommendations of a game I should do in the future of a comparison, please post in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please think about giving it a thumbs up, subscribing to the channel, turning on those notifications so you know when the next video goes up. Do a new video here on YouTube once a week. As long as it's gaming, we're golden. I also do stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. If you guys are interested in wanting to hang out with me while I'm streaming or while I'm playing, you guys are more than welcome to join me there. And if you guys have questions, feel free to ask me there. I do not mind at all. Until next time, guys, let's just play.